Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about these insects. They're called crane flies or daddy longlegs. I've been finding so many of them around the house these last couple of weeks. And today we're going to talk a little bit about them and why they can be harmful to your lawn. So let's get straight into it. So the crane fly has 4 stages in its life cycle. So it's the egg stage, it's the larval stage, it's the pupal stage, and it's the adult stage. And during August and September, that's when you can find them in their adult stage, flying around. But it's during the larval stage, they can be harmful to your lawn. That's when they're called leatherjackets. So because they have so tough skin, they're called leatherjackets, and they're just disgusting, man. They're so nasty when you dig them up. I don't like insects in general, but these guys, they are really, really nasty. So a normal lawn can actually sustain a couple of these. It's not harmful to have here and there. All lawns have them, but it's when they become too many, the issues start, because they actually feed on the grass roots. And also if you have a well-established lawn where the grass is well established, it has longer roots, then if a couple of leatherjackets eats on them, it might recover faster. But for a lawn like mine, where I've recently started using a lot of ryegrass, it doesn't spread. And when the grass is new, it takes longer for the roots to actually establish. So it's more sensitive to leatherjackets, I'm assuming. That's my theory at least, because I've never had issues with this before. But these last couple of winters have been awful in Sweden. I have a lot of snow mold and a lot of grass has died. So I had to reseed pretty much every spring. And saying this, I can just hear David from Lawn Association just yelling, "Use bent grass, you idiot." I mean, why make it easy for yourself? I like being out in the lawn, but yeah, it is what it is. I like my ryegrass, but this year I've actually introduced a lot of creeping red fescue and a lot of Kentucky bluegrass, which does spread. So hopefully if this gets to establish a bit, then I might see less issues with it. But for now, it is what it is. So how can you identify that you have a problem with leatherjackets? So in my case, I started seeing some areas in the lawn where the grass was a bit lighter green in color, and I could see that it wasn't POA or annual meadowgrass. The grass just didn't seem healthy, and if you pulled at it, it seems like it would just pull up a bit, like it's not really attached to the lawn that well. It's not like everything would just come off like a lid. It's just that if you pulled, it felt like I can just rip this up. And normally I could see some areas like that, but this year I saw a lot of areas like that. And I started digging, and sure enough, it was a lot of leatherjackets living underneath. And also I could see a lot of birds hanging around in the lawns, just pecking through. I mean, they know obviously there's food there, and that's also one of the issues. If you have a lot of birds looking for these leatherjackets, that will also destroy your lawn. Now, I didn't have that many birds, but you could see birds were here looking for leatherjackets every morning. So now when August, September hit and I saw some crane flies, I wasn't too surprised, but I actually was surprised after a while, because it wasn't just one or two. I saw so many crane flies. One morning when I woke up, I saw on these windows behind me, there must have been like, I don't know, 20 of them just sitting on the window, and I killed those off. And about, I don't know, half an hour later, I saw 20 more. They just kept coming. There were so many crane flies everywhere. So that's when you start realizing, well, I might have an issue here. Because what they do is that they hatch and then they live for about 12 to 14 days. And during this time, the only thing they do is mate and lay new eggs. And each female can lay up to 300 eggs. 300. So you can see how easily this can get out of control. And after they mate, they lay their eggs in the lawn. And then after about a week or two, the new eggs hatch. And then they start eating on the roots. Now, they don't eat that much during fall because they're just newly hatched, but when the weather gets colder, they start digging deeper and deeper to survive during winter. And then when spring hits, that's when they really go to town on the grass roots. So what can you do about it? There's a couple of things you can do. I think there is a chemical allowed to be used for leatherjackets and grubs and stuff. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it on the screen, but that's only for professional use. We normal homeowners can't use that. Even if we could, I don't know if I want to use that. I don't like using chemicals on the lawn. So then you come to the most common way of dealing with it. It's nematodes. So the idea with nematodes is that you spread them when the leatherjackets are newly hatched, because that's the easiest time for the nematodes to actually kill them off. And every time the nematodes get into a leather jacket, they kill it off from the inside out, and then they spread. So they spread until they don't have any more leather jackets to spread from. So if you see these crane flies, you might want to wait another week or two for the eggs to be laid on the lawn, hatched, and then you can spread the nematodes. And that's one of the issues with it. It's so sensitive, it's so hit and miss. You can't use it on a sunny day like this because UV light kills the nematodes. You need to water a lot because the nematodes actually travel on the water. So you need to keep the lawn moist for about 2 weeks for the nematodes to actually ride that water down into the soil. So timing is really key. And if you spread nematodes during spring, when the leather jackets are fully mature and have that tough skin, hence why they're called leather jackets, then you need to use double the dose. So nematodes seems really hit and miss and so sensitive. You need to use them at the exact right time. You need to water the lawn frequently. It just seems like such a hassle. So another way to do it is to soak an area during the evening. You can actually use some wetting agent or something, just soak it completely, then put a plastic bag on top of it. That will force the leather jackets up, and then 24 hours later when they're on top of the lawn, you can just go around, pick them up. I want to try this method, and I actually asked Sean from Lawn Right about this, when should you do it? And he said, well, you could wait a couple of more weeks for the eggs to hatch, then you can try it out. And I'm assuming it's best during spring when all of the eggs are hatched and matured. But I actually just want to try this out. So later this fall, I'm going to try it, see how it works, and see the extent of the issues. But hopefully I don't have that many, but we'll see. And Sean also actually said that if you have a smaller lawn, you can actually cover it with fleece and only lift it to mow. That way, when the crane flies want to lay their eggs, they can't reach the lawn. But yeah, that works for a smaller lawn. But if you have a lawn like mine or 200 square meters, I don't want to cover this whole area with the fleece. And every time I want to mow, I have to remove it. But if you have a smaller lawn, then you can just have the fleece, pick it up when you mow, and then just pull it back down. And then the crane flies can't reach the lawn to lay their eggs. And another thing you can do is during the time when they want to lay their eggs on the lawn, they need the lawn to be a bit moist so they can actually reach down into the soil and lay the eggs. So during this period, don't water the lawn. That will just make it easier for them. They don't like it dry. And then we have my own method, which I'm calling search and destroy. It's very caveman, it's very basic, and it's just about killing as many of them as you can find. So I've been out every morning, every evening for about 15-30 minutes, just going around killing as many as I can. I think the first day or two, I must have just killed about, I don't know, 100 of them. They were just everywhere. I went around with the slipper and just killed as many as I could. And the funny thing is that one of the evenings when I was out, I saw so many of them just halfway out, ready to be hatched. And it looks so crazy because they're standing up straight like this. And you can see them struggling back and forth, trying to get out of the shell. Is it shell or is it pupae? Puppy, pupae, pupae. Ah, we'll say shell. That's a tough word, man.
Pupae, pupae, pupae.
But that night I must have like stepped on at least like 50, 60 of them just halfway through. And then I went inside, ate dinner, went out an hour later just to check. And it must have been 50 or 60 more everywhere. They were just coming out. It actually looked pretty cool. Disgusting, but still cool. So during these last 2 weeks, I think I must have killed easily like 200-300 of them. And that's when you know you have a problem, because each one of these have been a leather jacket living in the lawn, feeding on the roots. So of course I know I have an issue. If I let all of these crane fly mate and lay 300 eggs each, you see where this is going. It's going to get out of hand pretty quickly. But the good thing is that every time I've been out, I think the birds have learned what I'm doing, because every time I'm out, I can see birds just flying around like vultures. They're waiting for the corpses, because as soon as I go inside, the birds just attack, start eating the corpses. I saw one bird I think he must have had like 15 or 20 of them in his mouth. So at least it's good to know that they're not wasted. The birds are actually eating them, because you know someone is going to comment on this. Every time I do a video like this, if you want to get rid of clover, no, don't get rid of the clover, it's not a weed. All right. Oh no, the dandelions are great. No, no, don't fertilize. No, don't use your lawn. Lawns are not good for the environment. Do something else every time. So you know someone will comment on this, that I'm killing crane flies. But again, the birds are eating them, so it's the circle of life, I guess. They're coming to use, and I can see a lot of spiders have them in their webs. So it's feeding all of the insects around my yard. Now, I don't know how well this search and destroy method will work, because I'm not really sure how many of these I kill have already laid their eggs. I have no clue, but that's why I'm out every day for 15 minutes. And every day I can still find some of them here and there, but fewer now. I think I've only seen like 2 or 3 the last couple of days. But I've been going around the lawn in a pattern, and you can see them jumping on the lawn as you walk, because if I just look at the lawn like this, it's hard to see. But if you start walking, you can see them jumping in front of you, and that's when you know they're in there trying to lay eggs. And before I get to them, I have no idea how many eggs they've laid. But yeah, hopefully I made a dent, and I can expect fewer leather jackets next spring, but we'll see. I'll try the plastic bag thing later this fall when the eggs have hatched and they're grown a bit, just to get an indication of did this work. But hopefully it did. It feels like after killing these many, I surely must have made a dent, right? All right, so now you know what these insects are and how they can be harmful to the lawn. So if you start seeing a lot of them, I mean, if you see a couple of them, that's fine. But if you start seeing a lot of them flying around, that's when you know you might have an issue. You might want to keep this under control. But I think I definitely would, at least in a smaller area where you have a lot of dead grass, I would have tried the plastic thing or start digging just to make sure it is leather jackets, especially here in Sweden where nematodes aren't it's not a universal nematode. You have nematodes for specific things, so you need to get a nematode for mosquitoes or a nematode for chafer grubs. It's not one type of nematode for everything, so you need to dig, you need to check and see what you're actually dealing with. All right, that's it. So now I'm just gonna do a walk around the lawn. I actually haven't seen any of them today. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.